Okay guys, here it is. I did say I would do this, and to be honest with you, I'm going to keep this nice and sweet because I think a lot of things that I wanted to say have already been said by myself. This is my review of Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition. Now you'll notice I'm not waving books around because they're very distracting for me as a person, so I'm not going to do that. Right, okay, now I've played a total of, I think it's 4 sessions of Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition before I eventually went, you know what, I don't want to play this anymore, I've stopped playing it. That isn't to say it's a bad game, it's just a game I don't want to run anymore. And I'm going to try and say why. Right, first of all, the classes. There's a lot of pigeonholing going on with the classes. Now I understand why the Druid and the Bard and the Barbarian are missing, because they don't need to be there. I mean, Barbarian, you know, is quite popular character class, but more people prefer to play fighters than Barbarians. More people prefer to play clerics than druids, and more people prefer to play rogues than bards. So, if you're going to cut any particular classes out there, monks as well suffer from this. Those are the classes that should go. I mean, they are going to come out in the Player's Handbook 2, but that's not going to come out until next year, so I won't hold my breath for that. First of all, this is a lot of this is coming from a GM standpoint, by the way. A lot of the character classes seem to be pigeonholed in one particular area. You can spec in different ways. You can, for example, when you're playing a fighter, you can choose to go two-handed weapon, or, as my friend calls it, sword and board, which is shield and one-handed weapon combo. And you do get a reward for doing one over the other, depending on what you pick. And to be honest with you, there are certain powers you can learn and features you can learn at first level which either help or hinder that choice. I mean, for example, there is a ability that warriors have that if you are in base-to-base contact with them, you're right next to them, they can effectively pin you down. They can make you fight them and stay with them. Even attempting to move away as a 5-foot step, or shift as it's called in the game, results in attack of opportunity, which basically forces your opponent to fight the fighter, who is marked by the fighter. That is fine up until you realise there's a first level power which knocks people away from you. And you're going, hang on, what? How? What? So basically, most of my class abilities only work if I'm stood toe-to-toe with someone, but I have a first level power which actually moves them away from me? What? So... it does emphasise teamwork a lot. I mean, I've seen some really powerful combos come off of the 3 players I had playing as to what they were going to do. But the bad guys also have the same thing, and it can be quite crippling. One particular fight I remember was a fighter stood in the middle of the room, unable to do anything because he couldn't see for 10 turns. Because he just constantly kept failing his saving throws. Combat is sped up significantly. People say that 4th edition is a very combat heavy game, and it is. It does aim itself in that direction squarely, and it is unashamedly so. However, the combat rules are a lot lighter than they have been in 3.5. They are akin, but not, you know, just slightly more complicated than 2nd edition stuff. Although, what you need to know about 2nd edition combat, you can write on the back of a piece of paper. You know, there's not a lot to it when it comes to AD&D. But there's about, I think it's about half as many rules in 4th edition as there are in 3rd. Attacks of opportunity are a big improvement because they do significantly reduce the list of things that cause it. So there are more things you can do mid-fight without having to worry about being tonked on the back of the head by a random goblin. Static saving throws work really well. They're a really great way of speeding the game up. I'm not going to dispute that at all. You know, I like the fact that it's effectively another form of armor class. It's another target to beat, and basically you can get your dice and you can roll them quite quickly. And if your GM gives you the static number, it's even easier to work out. Or you can just say, I hit Fortitude 20. Do I hit? And he goes, yes, you do. So yeah, that is really nice. Right. Okay. Experience works really well. Right, magic items. Magic items are horribly generic, and as a primary method of rewarding your players, it's a bit I mean, there's a lot of emphasis going to armour and weapons and weapon-like things like wands and staffs and rods, for example. There's not a massive section on wondrous items which make the game, in my opinion. I mean, bags of holding, yeah, you know, they're really generic. But recently in my 3.5 game, I've given them a folding boat, which is a box that when you touch it, say a command word, turns into a boat. It just folds out. You know, you don't get anything fun like that in 4th edition. You get stuff which helps you dungeon crawl, and that's it. Which is not a problem. If your group likes hack and slash, it's going to be a lot of fun for you, but combat tends to be either really easy or really hard. Minions are a great idea up until the point you encounter a Dragonborn or a Wizard. Because what a Dragonborn will do is go, that's a minion, that's a minion, that's a minion, that's a minion, that's a minion. They all have 1 hit point, so if I hit them, they're dead. I'm going to walk into a room and breathe fire on them. Dead. At which point, your budget of experience points which you've used to create the scenario, which means most scenarios are balanced quite well, they're just being blown up. Same with wizards. Wizards walk into a room and got burning hands or lightning blast or something daft like that. And it's the same effect. Basically, minions die, generally speaking, in the first or second turn. Now, I don't think that's the intention of them. I think they're supposed to be something you wade through to get to the boss. But the fact that they only last for 1 or 2 turns is an issue for me. I mean, maybe it's the fact that I'm not actually designing the scenarios properly. Because I didn't run anything official. I ran what I've written. I ran what I wrote. Oh my god, my English is bad today. That may be the problem right there. I mean, there's plenty in the books that I run from level 1 to 30. My biggest gripe as a GM is the monster manual. Now, if you look at the back of the monster manual, it does give you a lot of good guidelines on how to customise your monsters, how to add templates to them, which make them turn them into fighters or clerics or rogues or whatever, or how to level them up, advance them as it were. So you can say, for example, like the last adventure I ran had a skeletal owlbear in it. Now skeletons aren't a template anymore. So what I did is I took an owlbear and I reduced all its stats and I removed some of its special abilities, which presumably only a living owlbear could have as opposed to an undead one. And it worked quite well. It balanced quite well and people enjoyed it, and it wasn't until after the fight that I told them that that was homebrewed and that doesn't actually exist in the monster manual. They went, oh, we didn't really notice. Long combats tend to protract out badly. At least at low levels. At high levels I'm not quite sure. I mean, basically I threw a dragon at them, 3rd level, and it started out really fun. The dragon was throwing special abilities around, they were throwing special abilities around. It was quite cinematic, quite dramatic, and about turn 10 everybody in the group, including the dragon, had run out of steam, and they were just devolving down to hit, hit, breathe fire, hit, hit, breathe fire, hit, hit, cast magic missile, hit, hit, backstab, you know. And it got boring. It got boring real quick. And then I suddenly realised I had another 100 hit points to go because I'd only just managed to bloody the damn thing. And once it become bloodied, it used its one final last ability, and that were it. So long combats can be boring at low level. At high level you've got enough abilities and magic items to actually make it entertaining. I do like how they dealt with healing. I do like healing surges. I love the idea behind it. It's very comic book-esque or TV show-esque. The fact that you can have a good night's sleep and wake up in the morning and you're ready to go again. Almost video game-ish. I've heard a lot of people compare 4th edition to World of Warcraft or any other computer game, and it's a fair comparison because what Wizards have done is they've gone, our key demographic likes to play World of Warcraft, why don't we make it so that this game looks like you're playing World of Warcraft, or at least written that way. And it works quite well. It's a very good device for bringing in new players. The old guard like me, and I say that with a cringe because I'm not even 30 yet, are a bit about it. I mean, right, bottom of the line, it's a good game. I personally, with my GMing style as it stands at the moment, I do not like it.